I grew up in a house that you could smell before you could see. It wasn't a smell of rot exactly. It was the smell of old paper, the smell of dust, the smell of stagnation. It was the smell of 1,000 cardboard boxes stacking up against the windows, blocking out the sun, turning our living room into a dark, claustrophobic maze of narrow pathways. My mother was a hoarder. That was the label I gave her. That was the label the neighbors gave her. To me, she was the crazy woman who couldn't let go of an empty yogurt cup. She was the woman who screamed if I tried to throw away a newspaper from 3 years ago. She was the woman who filled my childhood with garbage, literally and metaphorically. I spent 18 years navigating the goat paths of our home. I ate dinner on a corner of the kitchen table because the rest of it was covered in stacks of junk mail and broken appliances she swore she would fix. I never invited friends over. I never had a birthday party. I lived in a constant state of humiliating secrecy, terrified that someone would open our front door and see the wall of shame. I hated her for it. I hated her disorder. I hated her refusal to change. I looked at the junk and I saw it as a symbol of how little she cared about me. I thought, she loves this trash more than she loves her son. She would rather keep a broken toaster than give me a normal life. I moved out the day I graduated high school. I packed my one bag. I was a minimalist by reaction, owning almost nothing, and I told her I was never coming back until the house was clean. She stood in the doorway, surrounded by towering stacks of old magazines, and she looked small. She looked terrified. "Lucas, don't go," she whispered. "You will get lost." I laughed. "I am not the one who is lost, Mom. You are buried alive. Call me when you dig yourself out." I didn't speak to her for 10 years. Last week, the fire department called me. "Your mother passed away," the chief said. "There was a small fire. She didn't burn. She was trapped. A stack of boxes fell on her. She couldn't get out." I felt a sick sense of validation. I knew it. I knew the trash would kill her eventually. I went back to the house to deal with the aftermath. I hired a dumpster. I hired a crew. I was angry. I was ready to bulldoze the whole thing. I wanted to erase the memory of the filth. I put on a mask and gloves and I started throwing things away. I grabbed armfuls of garbage, old receipts, candy wrappers, ticket stubs, and I hurled them into the black plastic bags. But then a box ripped open, and out spilled 1,000 index cards. I picked one up. It was taped to a pebble, just a gray, dirty rock from a driveway. On the card, in her shaky handwriting, it said, "Lucas threw this rock at a stray dog to protect me. Age 7, June 12, 1998. He is so brave." I froze. I picked up another item, an empty, crumpled bag of chips. The card read, "We shared these chips in the park after his baseball game. He struck out, but he laughed. It was the best lunch of my life. May 4th, 2001. I picked up a torn movie ticket. The first time he went to the movies with friends. I waited in the car. I watched him walk in. He looked so grown up. He didn't look back. October 2003. I looked around the room. I looked at the walls of junk. And suddenly the room shifted. It wasn't a hoard. It was a museum. If you have ever judged someone for their mess, or if you have ever felt suffocated by a parent's eccentricities, you need to listen to this story. Please hit that subscribe button right now. I am going to tell you the truth about the garbage house and the medical tragedy that forced my mother to build a physical world to replace a mental one. To understand the tragedy, you have to understand the layout of the house. I always thought it was chaos. I thought she just threw things wherever they landed. But as I stood there holding that pebble, I realized the stacks were chronological. The stack by the door was the early years. The stack in the hallway was middle school. The stack in the kitchen, the one that ultimately trapped her, was the departure. I started digging. I told the crew to stop. I told them to leave. I spent 3 days going through the trash alone. I found a medical file at the bottom of the 1994 stack. That was the year I was born. I opened it. Patient Sarah Miller, diagnosis, anterograde amnesia following traumatic brain injury. I read the doctor's notes. Patient suffered severe trauma to the hippocampus during a domestic dispute. Patient has retained long-term memory prior to the injury, but has significant difficulty forming new short-term memories. Memories fade within 24-48 hours unless reinforced. Patient is advised to keep a diary. I sat back on my heels. A domestic dispute, my father, the man she never talked about, the man she said died before I was born. He didn't die, he beat her. He beat her so bad he broke her brain. He broke the part of her brain that records the present. She couldn't make new memories. I thought about my childhood. I thought about how she would ask me the same questions over and over. How was school, Lucas? How was school, Lucas? I used to scream at her. I already told you, Mom, are you stupid? Are you deaf? She wasn't deaf, she had forgotten. The moment had slipped through her fingers like sand. So she started keeping things. She didn't keep the yogurt cup because she liked the cup. She kept it because if she threw it away, she would forget that we ate yogurt together that morning. She didn't keep the old newspapers because she wanted to read them later. She kept them to prove that the day had happened. The objects were her anchors. Without them, she was drifting in a timeless void. I looked at the hoard with new eyes. This wasn't garbage, this was an external hard drive. She had built a physical memory bank out of trash because her biological memory bank was destroyed. I found a tape recorder in the high school pile. I pressed play, her voice filled the dusty room. Lucas is yelling at me again. He wants me to clean the living room. He says I am disgusting. He says he hates living here. I want to clean it for him. I want to be a normal mom, but I am so scared. If I throw away the pizza box from Friday, I won't remember that we watched a movie. I won't remember his laugh. If I clean the room, I will wipe the slate clean. I will wake up tomorrow and I won't know who he is growing into. I will only remember the baby. I can't lose him. I have to keep the box. Even if he hates me, I have to keep the box. Oh, I sobbed. I sat on a pile of old magazines and I cried until I couldn't breathe. She lived in a prison of filth to keep me alive in her mind. She accepted my hatred, my ridicule, and my abandonment because the alternative was forgetting me. I thought about the day I left. You will get lost, she had said. She wasn't talking about me getting lost in the world. She was talking about me getting lost in her head. If I wasn't there to generate new objects, new trash, new anchors, I would fade. Oh, and I did. I went to the departure stack, the kitchen stack. It was mostly junk mail, flyers, coupons. But on every single piece of paper, she had written the same thing. Waiting for Lucas. Lucas is coming back. Keep this for Lucas. She had spent 10 years sitting in that kitchen, surrounded by a fortress of garbage, waiting for me to walk through the door so she could create a new memory. And because I never came, she held on to the only things that did come, the mail. She treated the junk mail like precious letters because they marked the passage of time in a life that had stopped moving. I found a letter addressed to me buried in the pile that had fallen on her. It was dated the day she died. My sweet boy, I am writing this because I feel confused today. The stacks are getting too high. I can't find the kitchen sink. But I found the pebble, the one you threw at the dog. As I held it for an hour and I remembered. I remembered your little face. I remembered how you stood in front of me with your arms out trying to protect your mommy. You were always my protector, Lucas, even when you were yelling at me. I know you think I am crazy. I know you think I love the trash. But look around you, this isn't trash. This is my love for you, solidified. I kept every wrapper because your hand touched it. I kept every broken toy because your imagination lived in it. I built a castle out of our history because my mind is a sieve. I am sorry it was ugly, I am sorry it smelled, I am sorry it pushed you away. But I have thousands of days of you here. I have every second we ever spent together cataloged and safe. You can throw it all away now, you can burn it. Because when you read this, I will be gone and I won't need the boxes anymore. My soul will remember you. The damage can't touch my soul. I love you, Lucas. Please forgive the mess. I looked at the pebble in my hand. I remembered that day a stray dog had come into the yard. It was growling at her. I was 7. I was terrified, but I picked up a rock and I threw it. It missed by a mile, but the dog ran away. She had hugged me so tight, she had cried into my shirt. I had forgotten that day. I, with my healthy brain, with my perfect memory, had completely forgotten that moment of connection. But she kept the rock. She remembered it every time she looked at the rock. Who was the defective one? Me. I was the one who threw away our relationship. I was the one who focused on the surface, the mess, the smell, the optics, and missed the profound, desperate love underneath. I called the cleanup crew back. Don't throw it away, I said, not yet. I spent the next month going through every single item in that house. I read every index card, I cataloged every memory. I took pictures of the trash, I scanned the notes. I built a digital archive of my childhood, curated by the woman who couldn't remember it but refused to forget it. I found out so much. I found out she starved herself to buy me that prom suit. The receipt was taped to a can of beans she ate for dinner that night. I found out she fought my father in court to get sole custody. The court papers were hidden inside a cereal box. I found out she was lonely, so incredibly lonely. Spoke to the mailman today, he was nice. He reminded me of Luca's, kept the envelope he gave me. I am living in the house now. I cleared out the bulk of the trash, I had to for safety. But I kept the museum. I kept one room, the library, filled with her boxes. I framed the pebble. I framed the chip bag. I framed the movie ticket. When people come over, they ask me, why do you have a dirty rock on your mantle? And I tell them, this is the proof that my mother loved me. This is the proof that love is stronger than brain damage. I am sharing this story because I know how easy it is to write people off. We see a hoarder and we think lazy, we think crazy. We don't ask asterisk why. We don't ask what hole they are trying to fill. We don't ask what memory they are trying to pin down. If you have a parent who clings to the past, if you have a parent who refuses to let go of things, be patient. They might be holding on to you. They might be terrified that if they let go of the object, they let go of the love. Don't force them to throw it away. Sit with them, ask them about the object. Mom, why are you keeping this old ticket? Let them tell you the story. Because one day the story will be all you have left. My mother died under a pile of trash, but she died surrounded by treasures. She died surrounded by me. I just wish I had been there to hold her hand instead of just being a note on a cardboard box. Please call your mom. Tell her you remember. Tell her, Mom, remember that time we went to the park. Give her the gift of a shared memory. It is the most precious thing in the world. If this story changed your heart, please share it. Share it for the hoarders. Share it for the people fighting to remember. And in the comments, tell me, do you have a keepsake from your childhood that looks like trash to everyone else but means the world to you? Let's celebrate the trash. Hit subscribe, we tell the truth here, even when the truth is buried deep. I love you, Mom, I'm keeping the rock.